Hey folks, welcome back to Law Creations. Welcome back to another video. I just wanted to share with you my newest custom diorama display. It was made for this particular Scorpion figure by Mcfarlane. And this one was a lot of fun to make. I really just wanted to concentrate on textures and just improving my dry brushing. So I know when you dry brush, you need some to dry brush well, you need a lot of texture. So I went ahead and just did a lot of stonework and grooves and textures on the floor, and obviously there's a lot of texture on the back wall. So let me start with I'll start with the base. So what I did was I used a 1/2 inch pink insulation foam from Home Depot, and I just added a whole bunch of sculptor mold. So if you see here, all that is sculptor mold, and there's a whole bunch of other areas where I use my DIY texture paste on the concrete, and I also gave it quite a bit of sand and pebbles and rocks and so on and so forth. So I also, my first attempt at making some lava came out pretty good. What I used was UV resin. I mixed it with some red, yellow, orange paint, and then I just went ahead and used a paintbrush and painted it in, dabbed it in, and that's what gave me the lava effect. It came out okay for a first try, so that was enjoyable to do. The skulls I purchased on eBay, but all of these skulls here I made a mold. I casted them so I can have them for my future dioramas. So I still have my original skulls that I purchased, which are here. Purchased those, and then I went ahead and made a couple molds of them, and this way here I don't have to keep buying them. And I recommend, if you have a lot of accessories and you're just buying constantly, take a look at making a silicone mold of it. And it's very simple to do, and it's very simple to use the resin and make a successful cast. So these particular stone rocks, this was made out of a Dollar Tree foam. It's like the floral foam, but it was like it had a point to it. So I just went ahead and carved it, and then I added some texture paste, and then I added some Mod Podge to seal it, because it is the kind of foam that just breaks apart. And adding the texture paste and the Mod Podge really seals everything in, and it gives you that nice texture look for this style of stone. So this was a lot of fun to create, and I also made a larger one, which is here. And if you guys can see that, and it got a nice paint with some nice dry brushing for some highlights. Yeah, so I didn't want to go like gray, so I went like a bluish gray to kind of fit for this diorama, because I wanted it to be an another realm, underworld style diorama. So I think I captured a halfway decent color scheme. I know it's very plain, but I'm pretty happy with the tone of the colors. So that's what I went ahead and did here. These were a lot of fun to make, very challenging. I made a medium-sized one, but I don't really have room on my build for it, so I stopped painting it, and I have it for a future build. It just gives you an idea of different colors you can use for this particular piece. So yeah, that's what I did there. Let me pause this for a minute and see if I actually have those pieces that I use for this. Hold on. So welcome back. Thank you for your patience. So this here was this to give you an idea of the exact material that I use. So, and it carved up nice. I actually used rather than a knife and having it shed and chip everywhere, I used a hot wire for the grooves and everything, and that actually worked really well, because rather than chipping it, it kind of burns and seals the foam. So that's that particular Dollar Tree. So, and I also made this little one out of that, and the medium-sized one I had showed you. So keep your eyes out for this. You can do some really good things with it. And so what else we got going on? So I told you about the skulls. This particular fatality piece that Scorpion is known for, it kind of looks more like a worm than it does a spine, but I tried my best at sculpting it. I mean, you get the idea, only because it's attached to the skull, but I think it came out okay, and it portrays the idea I was looking for it to portray. So this one came out really good. I just like I said, made a cast and sculpted. I added some wire, and I think it's not really bendable, but I positioned it in a way that it looks halfway decent. So as you guys remember, my stone pillar, my stone torch that I started creating, and if you saw the first two videos of that creation, you saw how ugly everything was, and just how some of the cuts weren't, even. But this gives you an idea of, see how uneven that is, but if I move that over where it belongs, it lines up. But yeah, added some textures and gave it a nice dry brush. The skulls here are also a mold that I had cut those other skulls, these here, in half, and then I made a mold of them, and actually I got one curing over here, which should be about done, but it gives you an idea of what you can achieve. So it's still a little, this particular skull is still a little uncured, but I was able to take it out. But you capture all the details. It has a lot of bubbles in it, but that's okay. All that can be dealt with. So yeah, that's what I went ahead and did for these particular pieces. And as you remember, the flame, you saw me painting a flame, and I just added a little more paint, and that wasn't my most favorite paint job, but it was okay. This here I cut out on my Cricut, and then I cut it out on a piece of little cardstock, and I glued it to a foam board. And then I went in with a hot wire knife, and you just go around and you trace it and you cut it. So in order to be able to reach the battery still, you just peel it back. So you have the design still there. Over here are some magnets. Over here are some magnets. And you have access to the battery. So if and when this goes out, you can change that battery. So, but I gave it some feet as well. But that's the finished torch. I hope you guys like it. I hope the tutorial was helpful. If you have any other questions about it, you can go ahead and ask. But I didn't see any tutorials on this particular piece. I just sat down and started creating, and having just having an image in my mind of what I wanted to create it, and what I wanted to create, and the particular diorama I wanted to create it for. So this fits in nicely here. You can even just display it even without a figure, and it looks nice. You can just, as such, there, but if you wanted it just for the Scorpion figure, you can also do that as well. And like I say, all this is modular, so you can put them where you please. You can have them in the build or without the build. You can have the build without them. So it gives you an idea of what can be done. All right, so covered those, covered these, covered the skulls. These are just skewers from Dollar Tree. You get a whole huge pack of them. I think I have them around. Let me check my drawers. So you get a whole bunch. And actually, this isn't the Dollar Tree, but it's called the Dollar Zone, and it's near my house. So I go there, but as you can see, it's still only $1. And look at all these you get. So for $1, you can't go wrong. And I'm always trying to buy certain things cheaper. So that's what I try to do. But certain things you can't really buy cheaper. And also, as you go along, you realize sometimes you get what you pay for, so sometimes you're just better off spending the money on certain items. So let's remove Mr. Scorpion here. Let's take a closer look at the groundwork. A lot of this you guys saw when I was just doing a little vlog and painting, and just gives you an idea of the textures that were involved. And I had a lot of fun dry brushing. I didn't go crazy on the dry brush because I wanted to keep the dark overall tone, but yeah, I still had to give it some highlights. So, but I'll give you an up close look at the lava here. So trying to zoom in a little bit better, but that gives you an idea. And a lot of this is just, some of this over here is plaster that I cured and I broke up and just glued and added. I'm really happy with the texture over here, if you guys can see that particular broken ground. And over here is just some rock formation on the back wall. Let me bring my light over. And I did some sculptor mold to fill in the cracks and the creases. And I made some skull torches, which were a lot of fun to make. And like I say, those are just casts that I had made. And the dragon I carved out of the foam and then went over with some sculptor mold and added some more lava effect there. And just added a whole bunch of different washes and highlights and for that particular back wall, which was a lot of fun. So this is going to go in my Detolf. It's not magnetized. I ended up gluing it because I don't plan on selling it and shipping it. I'm going to keep it for my particular figure. And it was a lot of fun to make. So I think I already said that. But I'm trying to fix my tripod here. So just bear with me, guys. And this is actually the first time I've soldered some electronics. So I brought a soldering kit off of Amazon, and it was a lot easier than I had anticipated. Excuse me, I had anticipated. So on the back, it just shows you I made some holders out of foam. So this is a lot neater than what I've done in the past. And the only thing really is I'll give this a nice coat of black. So it's good to paint all your pink areas. But I also added some skewers in the back here to help it and give it some more support when I glued it. So yeah, this is my newest 1/12 scale custom diorama. Mortal Kombat, made for Scorpion Mcfarlane figure. And I really hope you guys like it. And please comment, please subscribe, please like. And whoa, see what I mean? You just a little tap and that thing takes off. And I did the same thing here. All this is UV resin and some paint. So, and I made my torches out of glue. Let's bring the torches a little bit closer so you guys can. I know you saw me dry brushing, and that was a lot of fun to make. And it was creative and in some aspects challenging. But yeah. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. So I made a sci-fi crate. I've been hanging around and just thinking of different things to do, and so I took a wooden block, some wooden pieces, and this was a plain wooden block, and I took a nice wood burner and carved out the lines in the block, and then I just added some accents to give it that sci-fi type of look. And it's it's really intended for 1/18 scale. I don't think it really doesn't, well, it could. I guess it could go with the Star Wars. Mcfarlane figure's a little taller than Star Wars, so it could go 1/18, 1/12. So I also did the same thing with this particular piece. I made a silicone mold of it. I hit the damn thing again. I'm trying to be a little more professional here, and I'm just aggravating myself. But so I made a silicone mold of it. I made some. I poured some resin. This is the first time I'm going to actually check it out. So let's see how it came out. Loaded with bubbles. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'll go over all of this with a little bit of putty. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And this is without using my my pressure pot that I had made. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I would say that's a definite success. So if you guys can see that, let me move the light away a little bit. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. So as you can see, different things. I went to the hardware store, Home Depot, and I purchased 2 end caps, and I glued them together to make another sci-fi type of container. And it definitely gives you, once it's painted and you add maybe some other little, pieces and some signage, it'll look really good. And I went ahead and made another, a silicone mold of 1/2, and this way here I can, this is one solid piece right here. So this is casted in resin, and I have access to make, I like making my own accessories and then making molds of them and using them in my pieces. So this can either be laid flat, or it can be laid, it can be laid like that. So it just different opportunities, and that one scales well really with 1/12 figures. So with Star Wars or any kind of futuristic container. So that's this is what I've been up to, and I just wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to make some casts, some molds and casts of these particular chess pieces that I purchased. They're just plastic. I picked them up for $1.50 at the same dollar store, and you get all these pieces here, and I use a lot of these for my torches. My last couple builds came from my my torches, and I actually used, I believe it was this one here for the skull torch. But I ended up, what I did was I cut it in half. I cut it in half and put the skull in the middle, and I just gave this as a top and this extended piece as the bottom. And that's just different ways you can use your imagination and create. So yeah, you guys sit down, create, have a blast, enjoy it, create for you, create because you love it, create what you love to create, and love what you love, because life is short, and if you're not loving what you love, you're missing opportunity to enjoy yourself. So okay guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and take care.